it's not disputed that, number one, more bombs were dropped on Gaza than on Afghanistan in every year of the war in Afghanistan, bearing in mind the size of Gaza as compared to the size of Afghanistan. Number two, the Times reported, not that I attach any significance to the Times reported this has been among the most dense bombings since in the 21st century, among the most densest bombings in the 21st century. I think I cited the statistic that more children were killed in Gaza in 3 weeks than all the other war zones in the world combined.
But most people in Gaza are children.
Yes.
So that's what you'd expect.
Well, I looked around for what people were saying. I think the obvious answer is don't force them to flee. There should be a ceasefire now, so they don't have to flee.
Let's end with that.
That's their home. And I want people to bear in mind, 70% are refugees from 1948, when Israel was created. They've lived since 1948 in refugee camps in Gaza, 70%. And now Israel wants to turn them into refugees twice over, to dispatch them into the Sinai desert to rot and die. Because of one thing you can be certain, President Sisi of Egypt, will never let them assimilate into Egyptian society. That's never going to happen. Is that not hostage taking?
Okay.
Is that not hostage taking?
Professor?
To want to expel them
No, first of all,
a second time?
Where are you getting
expel
this
them a second time now into the Sinai desert? Is that not hostage taking?
Okay.
There have been so many statements now issued by Israelis saying this is a great opportunity to resolve the Gaza question by expelling the Gazans. It's not one person. Israel did not leave Gaza in 2005. Israel redeployed its troops from inside Gaza to the perimeter of Gaza. Even Israel's leading expert on international law, Yoram Dinstein, the former president of Tel Aviv University, even he acknowledged that after Israel redeployed its troops, Gaza was still under Israeli occupation. There is no human rights organization, even including Yoram Dinstein, who's quite conservative, who denies that if you control everything that goes in, you control everything that goes out, you control the airspace, you control the waters, you're the occupying power in that area. Of course, but if you're of the opinion that because of what Hamas did on October 7th, it has to be destroyed, not just dismantled, it has to be destroyed. That, by the way, is Bernie Sanders' position. I acknowledge that. Then, by that reasoning, the Israeli government has to be dismantled and destroyed. Now, that's just one massacre. See, that's just one. Because Israel likes to periodically mow the lawn. In Operation Protect...
I thought you were going to answer the question.
I'm answering the question. I'm saying if Hamas has to be dismantled because of what it did on October 7th, then if you take Operation Cast Lead, Operation Pillar of Defense, Operation Protective Edge, then the Israeli government has to be dismantled 10 times over.
Yeah, I follow you, but it's not really an answer to the question.
Oh, it is an answer to the question.
Because
it's called keeping a single standard.
No, it's not.
You want to talk about the 290 Israeli hostages? I say fine. But then let's talk about the 2,300,000 Gazan hostages. Gaza. Oh yes, Gaza. Hamas is closing the gates. I know that. Gaza is closed. Hamas is
love to open the gates to kill more Jews.
Yes. Okay.
I don't think it's an answer to the question. I understand your point on hypocrisy. But it
No,
still does, whether
I
you
will
think Hamas
hold
should be...
everyone to a single standard. Number two.
Should both governments... What do you mean Israeli... What do you mean by
I'm
dismantle the
saying
Israeli government? Election?
if you want to decide that Hamas has to be dismantled because of what it did on October 7th, I say fine. But then the Israeli government has to also be dismantled because for 20 years, it's kept the whole population confined in a concentration camp.
I don't understand it.
And periodically,
I get you.
And periodically mows
Professor,
the lawn.
Okay,
it mows the lawn.
Professor,
Yeah.
but
No, you can.
You want to destroy the world's only Jewish state.
Let me respond. Let me ask you a question. Hold on. Just hold on for 1 second.
You want to mock. Now, maybe...
I'm not going to mock you.
I will mock you.
Maybe...
Let me say...
Comedy, maybe
now you're getting personal. Let me just get my answer.
Comedy may be your forte. But the suffering of humanity has been what I've been about since I came onto this earth.
Now let me...
And I am not...
Are you going to let me answer?
I am not going to trivialize the fact that 1,100,000 children in Gaza are now the object of a genocide. I see no humor in that.
Okay, hold on a second.
Nothing
hold on a second.
funny
hold on
about
a second.
that. I would betray the memory of my parents were I ever to mock, ridicule, find funny, whatever.
Hold on a
what's
second.
being done
Professor.
to those people in Gaza.
Professor.
It is a crime that makes your heart just scream.
Professor.
At what's being done to them.
No one is
just
mocked.
can't blame the
Hold
culprit.
on. No one is mocked. No one has made a joke. I'm trying to ask you a question in response to your question. What I see is Israel is a democracy, and there is no substitute for democracy. So hopefully, the voters of Israel, if they are moved by the facts that emerge, will dismantle, which is not really the right word, but will vote out of office the people and adopt a different policy. Hamas is a military dictatorship. You can't ask them to vote them out. So your answer fails.
They never were given a chance. The people of
it can only be dismantled.
Okay, the people
it can't be voted out of office.
Gaza and the West Bank were told by our government.
Why did you go off on a thing about mocking and joking about the children? I didn't say anything like that.
Because I see a kind of lightheartedness.
No, you're imagining that.
Okay, fair enough. If you say
I'm not mocking you, I pity you.
If you say I'm wrong, then I'll acknowledge I'm wrong.
You are wrong.
Okay.
I'll acknowledge you. I have no problem with saying that.
Okay.
But
I
said the government was never given a chance from the moment it was elected in an election that the U.S. forced on the people of the West Bank and Gaza. And then Jimmy Carter went over to monitor the moment they elected that government. Yeah, the United States exerted a lot of pressure at the time.
So you don't think Palestinians should vote for their leaders? Apparently not.
I do think they should vote.
Well, then why would you say they forced it on them?
Wait, I don't think you're... Okay, I think there's a disconnect here. I said President Bush urged that there be the election in the West Bank and Gaza. The election occurred in January 2006. The Hamas, the political party of Hamas,
won the legislature.
Won the legislature, and then just at that moment, Israel, then followed by the EU and the US, imposed this draconian blockade on Gaza. It was never given a chance. And then you call it a military dictatorship. I have no problem with saying that. But it was a dictatorship that was the result of never giving the people a chance for another election.
Fair enough, but the question was
another election. Why isn't there another election? Hamas is not allowed elections.
Nor has the PLO.
That's true too. That's what.
Okay. Listen. I think that we've gotten on pretty well here. I think that what we're doing here is a public service of the highest order. I don't think I've seen any conversations like this on any of the major news networks or any place where they should really be had. I hope you haven't had a bad experience here, and I hope that I'm asking you if we can do things like this, debates like this, on a somewhat more regular basis. If you don't want to come all the way down here, we could do it online, but I think it's much better to do it in person. We have to wrap it up because I think we're taxing